Hello everybody, today we're gonna have the Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection analysis for PS5. So we analyze the PS5 version of the Uncharted 4 and the Lost Legacy, which comes with the technical improvements of virus scans, although with some absence. One of the Sega's inseparable from the success of PlayStation in its last two home consoles in Uncharted, a series that has not only stood out for its quality and the spectacular nature, but has also led the way in some of those hallmarks that we clearly see today. In the catalog of Sony exclusives, the Sega closed and Adventures of Nathan Drake with the Uncharted 4 and said goodbye with the Lost Legacy, a spin-off the Chloe Fraser on the protagonist. Now, after almost 5 years, they come back to life with a remastering for PS5 that comes with several technical innovation and in strict and intact quality of both games and also some no lesser absence. Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection is a compilation of the last two installments of the series that wants to take advantage benefits of 3D sound, the DualSense and the PS5 SSD and the power of new generation to offer us the best possible experience with two adventures that are the best of the last generation of the consoles. Another their prism, the collection achieved what it set out to do. A masterful closing for a series of memorable characters, Uncharted 4 looks and plays better than ever. The same goes for Chloe and the Nathan title, although this is not print because there is always in. The first is that the Ultra Sony has already announced that it will be so we continue to regret the updates of this type are not read for players who already have the original titles backwards compatible on the PS5 by the way and have prior access payment of €10. The second, that the one of pleasant surprises of the Uncharted 4, the multiplayer falls out of the compilation. We do not have denied that there is a job behind this compilation and that enjoying 60 frames per second makes us not want to return to original frame rate, but with the background on the platform itself and no others, the feeling is that the gesture would be more grateful for the player base of the original titles. In any case, that investment is not exploring, but there is, and it will be depend on answering the simple questions of whenever you want to play these two adventures better than ever. Welcome to our channel, don't forget to subscribe and comment, thank you so much. On the one hand, we have the Uncharted 4 and the end of Adventures of Nathan Drake and High Farewell. We are not only facing the most visually impressive game in the series when it came out in 2016, but also in a title that knew how to pause and deal in a depth with relationship and characteristics that we were going to say goodbye to. For some exclusively competitive time and finishing it again is later reaffirms us the essence that we portrayed it in the original analysis. We are facing a game that respects and treats its protagonist very well, with a very well spun closure, and that is pending everywhere. This is the credits of the game, there is the dedication of our mechanic, is a small detail that shows the spirit of the game. But beyond this, we are surely facing the best game in terms of mechanics in the saga. Uncharted 4 evolves the platform areas thanks to the rope, which allows you to create new paths and give variety to the automatic jumps, in addition to giving us the best shootouts in the entire series. And that happens because of the design of meetings much more open with the 360-degree action, and in which the mechanics of the platform rope and others are integrated in a very successful way. Sequences of the title we see on the Tomb of the Henry Avery at various ports of Madagascar, or in the final scratch in the middle of abandoned ship are quite a spectacle of shooting, taking cover, running, jumping and swimming with the rope to the height. Surprise enemies and react with those that appear behind our back. The title threats with the stealth mechanics not inconsolable, leaves traces of melee combat improvable and offers us escaping a convoy, which is many the best action sequences that we remember in the series in action adventures in general. Everything of course with the enviable cinematographic that accompanies the series itself first installment, several extras to replay in its first approach to open the world areas more competitive than anything else. In short, Uncharted 4 continues to be masterful its formula, something uncertain as it don't like the proposal and neither this fourth installment. For its part, The Lost Legacy is consolidated as very prominent installment with the series and with the currently Naughty Dog games. More compact than direct as Uncharted 4, also limited the level of shooting and platforming situation, but with the same tools as Drake Farwell, the little starring Chloe and Nadine is clearly continuous, but that doesn't not mean that it's capable to improve things of Uncharted 4, such as much more active open world area to explore, or the final sketch of Fireworks, with a running train that essentially sum up everything good and spectacular that the saga has given us. Less vertical and with private surprises, The Lost Legacy can be understood, and the expansion of the Uncharted 4 experience that due to its duration is capable of capturing us and offering us a good dose of exploration, platforming and action. In addition to puzzles that in some cases are the best in the series, we don't doubt that its delivery that surpasses some of the numbers ones that the years later continues in maintain the type of perfection. Also the PS5 do that. Due to its rhythm, it seems even more agile to replay for those who are competists. So, but all these that we have compared, many will already know. Both games are millionaires for sale, and there will be obvious questions such as technical improvements, and they are interesting. Starting with the graphics section, the collection has 3 modes: Fidelity, which aims 4K and 30 frames per second performance, which is looking for 60 frames per second, and 4K upscale from 1440p, and performance which stays at 1080p, but in return also as played to at 120 fps. We have been enjoying both titles exchanging 3 modes, and we have to say that 60 frames per second is the standard that should no longer be omitted in any upcoming Naughty Dog game. The balance between the fluidity of 60 FPS and the resolution is ideal. We have noticed the frame rate drops in this mode, nor the improvements of the greatest action, and the level of the detail in the resolution gives us obvious improvement on the screen. Improvements is anti-aliasing in the makes us save bad and the most only recommended by us. We have to be honest, we have played little in fidelity mode because 30 FPS after several hours with the performance mode seems to be as much as rounder and less fluid game. With the blue effects much more pronounced, it is impossible to return to this mode. Something that has happened to us is a similar way when we have put the original PS4 game and compare it. On the other hand, the performance mode provides extra fluidity, is noticeable if we change at the moment, but the sacrifice in the terms of details and the resolutions are too many for the jump. If we stick on the balance again, we believe that the graphics quality is lost for improvement in hertz. That is not decisive either, seeing how well 60 FPS is going. It doesn't seem interesting to us in the other action games such as Nioh 2 and level of graphical improvements, the additionals and here, without other tweaks of modeling. To all this, we are the key element in the new generation, and the comparison with the original game speaks for itself. The loading times. They are almost existent text for SSD. We restart, exit, change the game, load the game, and the speed of light, something that is much more to go with the PS4 delivery in what is appreciated. There are 2 more details that the PS5 version brings to the remastering. The most prominent of all 3D audio with the official Sony headsets is the one of the open field battles. Is awesome to able to hear the bullets everywhere, even a small gameplay advantage to identify enemies with the sound and the nuances of the sound of guns. Machine guns of explosions are great. Putting on your Barrock 44 revolver and hearing how the sounds hits your headphones with every shot is a blast. As well as fighting for being scalded by the buzz of Sully planes coming to the rescue, which sounds from the left side and gradually passes to the other side of the ear. For its part, the DualSense has much more smaller implication. The adaptive triggers some resistance when aiming the shooting, although we have not found it convicting as it won titles. While the vibration we tries to recreate when we drive, hit or shoot happens to something else unnoticed. Yeah, we will note slight changes if we are driving on the grass, gravel or stones, but we are far from the Astro Playroom exhibition to the touch of the rain, for example. In fact, Gatekeeper of the Lost Legacy have confrontation in the middle of deluge that is almost irreplaceable in comment. What we want to say is that the treatment of the vibration has seemed to us something standard without the boost to the other games. It's fine, no more. Both games are translated and dubbed into the Spanish, Portuguese, French and the other languages, and with the option transferring games and trophies to the original keep bonuses, treasures and more. So Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection is the optimal way to replay of two greatest adventures last generation consoles. There is no doubt about that. Uncharted 4 continues to be the best playable level of the saga, a finishing touch of the series and its characteristics, while the Lost Legacy expands the proposal of the combat, intense development and unforgettable moments. There are still great titles last year, and now the 60 frames per second are non-negotiable with a blessing, as well as the other details such as the absence of loading times or the spectacular 3D sound. But the collection may know little to those who truly explored the titles at the time, since it doesn't not bring extras beyond the few technical improvements. So the pros and the cons. The pros. Two the best adventures of the past generation fully in force. The Uncharted 4 is still the best in the saga and the playable level at the majestic closing. The 60 frames per second, the best way to enjoy the both adventures. 3D sounds improves his experience a lot. About the cons, the payment update for the owners of the games on PS4, without the amazing fun and multiplayer, and no extras for users who already enjoyed them because the aforementioned technical tweaks. Thank you guys for watching, have a good one, goodbye.